In a small village surrounded by mountains, there lived a man named Kenji. He was known to everyone simply as the Silent Gardener. Every day, from dawn until dusk, Kenji tended to an old abandoned garden on the outskirts of the village. He never spoke much, only nodded his head when someone passed by. The villagers found this very strange. Why would anyone dedicate so much time to a garden that nobody visited? Why work so hard on something that seemed to have no purpose at all? Some even mocked him behind his back, calling him a fool and saying he was wasting his life. One day, an ambitious young man named Hiro arrived in the village. He was intelligent, talkative, and full of grand plans. Quickly, Hiro opened a small business and began to prosper. He saw Kenji every day, walking silently to the garden, and he could not understand. One morning, Hiro decided to confront the gardener. He walked to where Kenji was working and said loudly, "Forgive my frankness, sir, but I must ask, why do you waste your time here? This garden belongs to no one. Nobody comes here. You gain nothing from it. Wouldn't it be better to use your energy for something that really matters?" Kenji stopped what he was doing, wiped his hands on his worn apron, and looked at the young man with kind eyes. He replied calmly, "You are right about many things, young Hiro. This garden truly does not belong to me. It is true that few people come here, and you are correct in saying I earn no money from it." Hiro smiled, satisfied to have his opinion confirmed. But Kenji continued, "However, there is something you do not yet understand. Come with me tomorrow at dawn and perhaps you will see with different eyes." Intrigued, Hiro agreed. The next morning, with the sun still rising, he met Kenji at the garden entrance. Together, they walked along the stone paths until they reached a wooden bench. Kenji sat down in silence and gestured for Hiro to do the same. In the first few minutes, nothing happened. Hiro began to grow impatient. But then something started to change. He heard the birds singing, felt the gentle breeze bringing the scent of flowers, saw butterflies dancing among the plants. The golden morning light created a spectacle of colors. Then something unexpected happened. An elderly woman entered the garden leaning on a cane. She walked slowly to a specific bed of white lilies, knelt down with difficulty and began to cry silently. Kenji did not move, only watched from a distance, respectfully. Hiro whispered, "Who is she?" Kenji replied softly, "That is Mrs. Yuki. She has been coming here every week since I started caring for this garden 15 years ago. Her son used to play here when he was a child. He died young, and this is the only place where she feels she can connect with her memories." The revelation left Hiro speechless. Kenji continued, "Look over there." He pointed to a young mother entering with a baby in her arms. "She comes here to nurse in peace away from the noise of her crowded home." And there, he pointed to another corner. "That gentleman comes every afternoon. He lost his wife last year, and sitting among the flowers helps him cope with loneliness." Hiro watched with renewed attention. Over the next few hours, he saw more people arrive. An artist came seeking inspiration. Two elderly friends walked together, laughing and reminiscing. A boy tried to count all the different colors of the flowers. Each person found something precious in that silent garden. Kenji finally spoke. "When I started caring for this garden, I was destroyed. I had lost everything in my business and felt like a complete failure. I needed a purpose, something greater than my problems. So I began tending to this abandoned place, hoping it could be useful to someone." He paused and looked around with affection. "Over time, I realized the garden was not just for others, it was also for me. Each flower that grew represented a small victory. Each passing season taught me about cycles, about patience, about new beginnings. And then I began to notice the people who came here, each one carrying their own story, their own burdens." Kenji turned to Hiro and said, "You asked me yesterday what I gained from this. I gained the peace of knowing that in a world where so much is uncertain and fleeting, I create something that offers comfort, beauty, and hope. It is not measured in money, but in silent smiles, in tears of relief, in sighs of tranquility. That, young Hiro, is a wealth that no business can give me." Hiro felt something shift inside him. His entire vision of success, of purpose, of value was suddenly questioned. He had spent so much time building his fortune that he forgot to ask what for. That day, Hiro did not immediately return to his shop. He stayed in the garden, simply observing, feeling, understanding, and when he finally stood up to leave, he knew that something fundamental had changed within him. In the following months, Hiro continued his business, but with a different perspective. He began donating part of his profits to community projects. He started dedicating a few hours each week to help Kenji in the garden, and he discovered that the more he gave, the more he received in return, not in money but in meaning. The true lesson was not about gardening or charity. It was about understanding that the value of a life is not measured only by what we accumulate or achieve, but by the silent and lasting impact we have on others. Sometimes the most important actions are those that nobody applauds, that earn no recognition, but that nourish the human soul in ways that no prize or fortune can. So ask yourself, what garden are you cultivating? What invisible seeds are you planting? Because in the end we are remembered not for what we had, but for what we gave. And the greatest wealth is not in our bank accounts, but in the hearts we touch along the way.